Greetings, Nia. Coma Montsho, we do a Coma House initiative, culturally based counseling and consulting for individuals, couples, and families, relationship education, psychological reparation, and cultural initiation. Want to come on and talk to the family quickly about poisonous podcast pros. So like and share this video with anyone who is serious about the state of intimate relationships, Black love culture, the art and science of Black love culture, right? So I'm gonna jump in and say that we're living in a time where, as Black people, sometimes we are behind the time because of our trauma and because we are not necessarily in our nature. Our nature is within us, but we're not within our nature, meaning that we're not thinking, speaking, and acting in accord with our nature. We're more thinking, speaking, and reacting to the environment we're being nurtured in, which is against our well-being, right? So it's antithetical to our own success, which is problematic. But as a byproduct of that, we're in a time right now in the social media era where in the dynamics that we see in terms of how we get our information and other things. One of the biggest things that's happening in the world is podcasts. And I would say at the outstart, I'm not against podcasts at all. We don't particularly have a podcast. We do have a YouTube channel that we're starting to use. We've kind of fallen back from as much live content on our various social media pages. We're centralizing on our YouTube page. So go to the Black Love School and a Coma Day every day on YouTube, as we'll be posting new videos every Wednesday, and we'll be going live at least once or twice a week, maybe Monday and Friday. So we'll that'll be a place that you can consume the content if you find it valuable at all. If not, move on and block us or delete us, right? So not all podcasters are bad, but we're in a time where you must protect your mind. We are actually consuming so much information right now that it's actually becoming detrimental. And I don't think that anyone would disagree that the level of distraction has gotten higher and the level of generalization has gotten higher, the level of specification has gotten lower, and specifically when it comes to specialized skills. So we're getting lower and lower in that. We're not getting higher and higher in that. What we need to be successful in life is specialized skills. Yes, there is an importance to having generalism, but we need to have specific skills. You need to do something specific very well in order to have a relationship, in order to have a career, in order to have a family, in order to have a good quality of life, right? You do want to have a general understanding of things, but you want to have some specificity. What do you do well? Are you an entertainer? Are you a educator? Are you a chef? Are you a politician? Are you a spiritual leader? What is it that you do well? That's important, right? So a lot of people talk about the information age, and I just want to say to Black people, catch up, y'all. The information age has been over for almost a quarter of a century, right? The information age was technically from 1985 to 2000, when Y2K was coming in and the fake threat of all the computers shutting down. That was actually the end of the information age. Then we went into the transformation age, which was technical AI and things like that, from 2000 to 2015. Right now, we're actually in a reparation age where things are being restored and repaired, or some of the damage that has been done from many industries, from many disciplines of life is being restored. And we're about to move into, in 2025, the restoration age. This is the age of justice, where the penalty or rewards will be administered for people's thought, speech, and actions, whether it's individually or globally. So we are not in the information age. We've been at an information overload now for 25, almost 25 years, right? And you notice in your personal life, it's so much information you can't keep up. It's 35 social media pages and stuff coming out all the time. It's like overwhelming and nonsensical, because a lot of it isn't relevant to your life. Some of it is, some of it isn't. But people are spending, statistics are showing we're spending more time in front of devices than we are in front of human beings. And so that's problematic. Now, some of us are using this stuff for business, but most of us aren't. This has become the new social order of the way we getting down, the way we connecting with people. So one of the things that's coming out of that is the podcasters. And I'm specifically talking about the podcasters who talk about relationships. That is my lane as a therapist who works on couples and family relationship. My lane of specificity is that. And so when I look around, I'm saying like, wow, I see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podcasters, right? And they're talking, right? And I see a lot of them are just wave riding, right? They wave riding because relationships, along with health and money, are always, and family are always the three most important things in life. In fact, family falls under the banner of relationships. So you take relationships, money, and health are always in a culture the biggest three things to talk about, right? And so when people are talking about these things, they're actually wave riding, because this is what everybody's talking about. This is what we all talk about. Peace to the God, Darren Freedom Green, the mayor of Trenton, right? But this is what everybody is talking about. So some people just have a mic and they're talking. You know, I said last week, Nawasha made a joke that podcast mics should cost $100,000, because if they did, then fewer people would be podcasting. But I don't begrudge a person for having an opinion. I'm not one of these people who say you shouldn't share your opinion. But when you position yourself as a podcaster and you're talking about relationships and you don't really have that skill, you're actually selfish. You're taking more than your share, which is one of our family rules in our home, right? We got 10 family rules. One of them is don't take more than your share without asking or bartering an agreement. So if you take more than your share here, you give more than your share somewhere else, and that creates balance. So we ain't doing that. You know, podcasters aren't doing that. What is actually happening is there is a sea of unqualified people talking about relationships, and they're wave riding. Everybody has an opinion, and so your opinion is valid. We can't say to the world that people can share their opinion in various areas of life, but then you can't. So that would be unjust. So you have an opinion and you have the right to share your opinion. But when you position yourself as a relationship podcast or a so-called relationship expert, and you're talking about relationships in a sphere where you don't really have anything restorative or repairing, you're not offering any reparation, you are actually just, you're adding to the dysfunction, right? So we see a lot of podcasters creating more confusion than they're creating clarity around relationships. And I gotta just say that I'm in this lane. Again, relationships, health and wellness, our emotional, psychological, and physical fitness would be health, and money are the three most important things in society. So if you are a person talking and you're talking in one of those lanes and you're not adding clarity or value, you're just adding to the sea of confusion, then you're not doing a good job, right? And so when I look at a lot of the podcasters, I don't see them adding value, right? I don't see that. I don't know about you, but I don't see that. I see a lot of wave riding, number one. Number two, with three issues that I have, is a lot of people are unskilled that are in this space. And what do I mean by that? Well, they are talking, right? They're empty tantalizers. So they say salacious things or sensational things that ooh and ooh, and they trigger and trash. They do what I call trigger and trash. A lot of times there's millions of people out there. These things are getting shared by hundreds of thousands of people. And sometimes what the people are talking about triggers a person's trauma, triggers a person's dysfunction, or let me just say it plainly, it hurts people. And if it hurts people and you're not there to actually reconcile that hurt, you're actually doing more damage. And I think a lot of these people don't understand, because they are unskilled, you're making problems, like it's like you're touching a sore spot for a lot of people. We're 8 out of 10 unmated in our community, and even the 2 that are mating are having serious problems navigating relationships in this social strata that we're in. So if you come on, you really got to have some skill, not just an opinion. It's okay to have an opinion. Nobody's begrudging you that. State your opinion. But you got to have some skill if you got a mic in front of your face and you're leading the masses around conversation. Why? Because if you don't have skill and you just have an opinion, you're actually doing more damage. And we have become attention whores where we just want to talk. We just want to say something. I really miss the days where we had real relationships as our standard, because then there wasn't this thing where everybody is talking about anything all the time. Everybody's got an opinion. Whatever's the hot thing, somebody's going to pick out their mic and start talking about it. Well, this is a very sensitive area, just like health and money. And you start triggering people. Unlike health and money, we don't necessarily listen to people who don't have skill and money. You could ascertain that and discern that very quickly. We also don't listen to, for the most part, people who don't have health and wellness, especially in fitness. In other words, we don't really listen to people who are unfit talk about fitness. But relationships is the one realm where many people listen to people who echo a talking point that resonates with them. Now, if they're skilled or not is not even a qualification. It's just, are you talking something that I feel? And on one hand, there's a community in that. But in the other hand, in the way we see it playing out, it's becoming a lot of damage that's being shared. And people just resonate with anybody who is talking what they want to say, right? So they relate to these kinds of people. And that's really problematic. It's real problematic because, we're in a state, y'all. Our children are in a state. As a people, we're in a state that is not the greatest we could be in. We're a glorious people. I love black people. I love black men and black women. And I'm always rooting for us to be what our nature had created us to be, the leaders of humanity and the gods and goddesses of the universe. But a lot of people out here not on that time. They don't come from that mentality, and they don't have the skill to be in this sphere, which this is a very delicate sphere. We want to help men be the most responsible we want to be. We want to help women be the most productive that they could be, right? We want men to be providers, producers, protectors, and prophesiers. We want women to be nourishers, nurturers, and neutralizers. We don't want to bash either one of these people because of their current state. And we do got challenges in our current state. So a lot of these people are empty tantalizers. They're triggers and trashers. Or you got the other style of people, they're problem highlighters. And let me say this, I'll give you an example to the brothers and to the sisters for all of us that appreciated Kevin Samuels. And I don't bash on Kevin Samuels, although I didn't agree with a lot of his tactics. 80% of his talking points I did agree with, but his tactics were deplorable, right? And 20% of his talking points I did not agree with, right? But when you look at somebody like Kevin Samuels, it's amazing to me that so many people are repurposing his content and they're calling him the relationship expert, a godfather, etc., etc. This is a dude who's not even in a relationship. And when he actually married twice, he was divorced twice by the two women that he married, right? And I'm not going to attack the brother especially post-mortem, because he's in eternity now, and now he knows all things, right? So he's our brother. And I give him credit, as I always did. I reached out to him. I wrote to him. He actually came to the Black Love School one night, right? So I respected him, but I disagreed vehemently. And I see a lot of brothers now, and even some sisters, amazingly, repurposing this content as the answer. Let me tell you this when it comes to relationship. If a person doesn't have a solution, they don't actually understand the problem. Let me say that again. If a person doesn't have specific, detailed, step-by-step solutions, they actually don't really understand the problem. Many people highlight a problem, they antagonize a problem, they magnify it so we can see it better. Okay, but you don't really understand a problem that you can't solve. People who solve problems, there's one core reason they solve problems. They can utilize different methods to solve a problem, but the reason they solve it is because they understand it in its origin, in its inception, in its processing, and they understand how to eliminate it. And I'm saying that our dear brother was excellent at highlighting a problem, but he did it with a lot of animus and a lot of badgering and hurtful and humiliating tactics. You know what I mean? We just saw this from our brother Cameron yesterday on CNN. Got on there. Cameron is a business and musical genius, and he's also an immature idiot, right? So he got on the show and said a lot of dumb things to the sister. In a way, he was making an excellent point, and his point was, I don't really know P. Diddy, and I'm not going to come on here and bash a black man. Great point. The way he did it and the stuff he said was ridiculous, right? And it was an embarrassment to his legacy, but that's how he gets down. So, you know, I respect Cam, and I watch his show sometime, but what he did on CNN was stupid, right? It was just stupid. And so, as I'm saying, whether it's Kevin Samuels or whoever it is, a person who can't give solutions don't understand the problem. And a person who only harps on the problem, it's a telltale sign that they actually don't have solutions. What it is that they are swimming in the problem. And in his example, i.e., you married twice, you were divorced twice. I salute you for marrying again after you got married. But you got divorced twice by women, despite the fact that you're saying you're high value and all of this other stuff, right? Well, this is what a lot of men are saying, and a lot of women are saying a lot of nonsensical stuff. There is no woman that's above a man, and there is no man that's above a woman. A lot of people talk that jazz, but we don't see that playing out where you're in a relationship and somebody's loyal and fulfilled because they won the prize of being in a relationship. In fact, we have a video coming out next week. It's already produced and scheduled to come out on our YouTube channel that's talking about who's the prize in the relationship. Is it the man or is it the woman? And the answer that we give is very different than anything that people are saying out here in relationship space. But back to Kevin, back to Cameron, back to a lot of these crazy sisters that's out here talking. Listen, you don't understand the problem if you don't have a solution to it. And if you don't have a solution to it, it's irresponsible to keep stirring up the problem, because despite how many views you get or how scintillating or sensational it is, you actually hurting your people. And we've gotten to a point where people don't care. They don't care if they hurt you, long as they get in center stage in this fake reality that we're calling social media. So I'm suggesting that, one, podcast people are riding the wave, and they're just talking about the thing that is already one of the most important things in life. So they're not bringing any real quality to it. Two, they're really unskilled when it comes to the challenges that we're facing, and we're all facing them. Whether you're mated, married, and or single, you are facing the challenges of Black love culture in this time where we're, again, not in the information age of 1985 to 2000, not in the transformation age of 2000 to 2015. We're in the reparation age. This is repair time. This is moving into the restoration age, which is justice, right? So when you saw Cat Williams at the beginning of this year talking that talk, and him saying like a lot of things are going to be happening, that is not coming from the entertainment world. That's coming from the spiritual world. The spiritual, cultural understanding then filters down through all the areas of human activity, including education, entertainment, economics, fashion, food, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and health. What's happening is reparation. We're on the horizon of reparation. And starting in 2025, we're moving to justice and restoration. So what does justice look like in our relationship? It looks like the penalty or reward for our actions. And a lot of these people who are positioning themselves as podcast relationship experts, they're receiving swift and complete justice because they're more concerned with humiliating, tantalizing, sensationalizing, or straight up hurting people for views, but they're not really healing relationships. And I'm saying that you got to protect your mind. If the subject of relationships is important to you, you should pick 1, 2, maybe possibly 3 people out here who really are qualified and then that have solutions, not just talking about problems, not just making clever sound bites about what problems is or what we need to do, but actually they have programs, books, and they consult as consultants to help you actually achieve what it is you're going for. Because see, we should all be getting better if all these hands are on deck and all these people are talking about relationships. Relationship rates, marriage rates should be going up. We should have more intel about how we connect, how we find, keep, and grow the relationship of our wildest dreams. Is that what's happening? That's not what's happening, y'all. So what is actually happening is talking points are being triggered in trash. It's sensationalization, it's titillation, and ooh, ah. Then there's lines being drawn of people trauma bonding. When you look at a person like our brother Kevin Samuels, what you're looking at is hundreds of thousands of men trauma bonding with a man who was not successful in his own relationships, and then projecting, and accurately so, bringing up some of the real issues that women have, but then have no solutions. And I hear him talked about, I wrote to him and we talked, and I talked to him about saying, okay, you helped 8 or 10 people, whatever it was that you were saying. And I'm saying, brother, if you got hundreds of thousands of people following you, you are right now doing better than any therapist or any counselor or any person in America. And what you're actually producing is a bunch of young, uninformed, ridiculous, fallacious, and delusional women, and then you just bash them, mock them, jeer them, make mockery of them, and then that's being celebrated by a bunch of men. That is the very definition of trauma bonding. Because why are those men celebrating that? Not because you have answers, but because you speak to the pain that they have. We see a lot of clients who think they the shit, men and women. Women think they the shit with their beauty and everybody's beautiful, or if you really are beautiful, you ain't that beautiful. And if you are that beautiful, you're still in relationships dealing with the things that all of us deal with. So there is no what do you call it? There is no exemption because of your beauty. Now we have a lot of men who think that they are financially or they have some value, because it's never your finances that give you value, right? It's your nature, it's your purpose, and it's your ability to replicate yourself. That's what gives you value, not your ability to amass material things. But if you are high value, right, a lot of these men are out here thinking, I'm choosing a woman, she's not even on my level, this, that, and the third, and I'm going to school her, show her, teach her, whatever. And these women are unhappy in these relationships. Of all the identities you want to have in a relationship, you don't want to have the identity of a teacher, right? And so when a person is in that dynamic, they're turned off. And so these women are bouncing. And then it's a shock to the men who think they're actually above these women. And then the women don't value what they value, so they leave. And then it's like, it's shocking. And so naturally, when we're hurt, we're confused, and we don't have solutions, what we tend to project is the problems of the others. So you have the feminist movement, which is fallacious and psycho. If you're a black woman, do not align with feminism, because it is an extension of the global system of racism, white supremacy, and it will do nothing but destroy black families. Do not align with feminism. We have a psychological and sociological positioning for black women that is superior to feminism, and it's not in contention with black men in our indigenous cultures, right? So that's number one. The manosphere, the feminist movement is fallacious. The manosphere movement is maniacal. They're insane, and they're trauma bonding over hurt or the inability to produce families like their grandfathers or great-grandfathers were able to do in the middle of the most overt systemic hell. Our grandfathers and great-grandfathers were able to buy land, were able to marry, were able to raise families, and were able to maintain a certain level of masculinity that is almost bygone, and a certain level of class. You know what I mean? In the middle of all that hell, us being lynched and murdered in cold blood and all of that. Go back to your grandparents and your great-grandparents and look at the property they own in Mississippi, one of the most racist states. Look at the property they own in Georgia and Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, all the way up to Delaware and through Pennsylvania and New Jersey, all on the West Coast. The things that they were able to amass in the most incredible times, we're not able to do. But we got a mic though. We got a podcast, and we banging on black men, or we banging on black women in this way that is gaining applause from people who are similarly hurt, but we ain't growing. And if you don't believe me, look to the group that is 18 to 25 right now. Ask them how they feel about podcasts. Is more clarity happening? Are you more confident about the idea of moving into formal adulthood and marrying and having children? Or are you more afraid? Are you more confused? Are you more scared to get out here? Are you more pessimistic, or are you more optimistic? Just round up a group of young people. I did my thesis work, and I talked to these people, hundreds of them from 18 to 25, and asked them what they were feeling about relationships. And I was working on my master's degree in 2005. That was that many years ago. And they were like, it's horrible out here. I'm looking at my parents. They talk all that jazz. You could be whatever you want. The world is yours, whatever. And, be positive. And they can't even get along with each other. The two people who made me. And when I look in the sphere of black men and black women, I see irresponsible sex. I see unmarried children. I see irresponsible motherhood, irresponsible fatherhood. And I see the black man and black woman waist deep now. It was knee deep then. Now it's waist deep in the gender war. That's what they're saying. That's what the youth are saying. And they're impartial. They're coming into adulthood. They're looking at all of us. Our example is representing pessimism, selfishness, anything goes in terms of embarrassing, humiliating, or degrading each other for the sake of making a point or getting views. That's what we've turned to. Brothers, that's a very feminine trait. We have toxic femininity amongst the men. Sisters, chanting down Babylon, screaming, ranting and raving, and going all in with a mic in front of your face, a very masculine energy. So the toxic masculinity is actually coming from the women, and the toxic femininity is actually coming from the men. And this is the state that we're in. And everybody got a mic in their mouth, in front of their mouth, and they're talking. How many people have solutions to this problem? You don't have a solution to a problem you don't understand, and you only have a solution if you truly understand the problem, the predetermining factors, the causes, the process, the symptoms, and you can produce the ideal vision. So what is the ideal vision? For all of us to find, keep, and grow the relationship of our wildest dreams. And it's challenging. That's not an easy endeavor. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? And so in order to do that, we need to guard our minds. So I'm telling people to look out here and to decide who is it that actually has solutions, not numbers. Like our business coaches teach us, Darnell Jervey and Danielle Leslie and Marquell Russell and Billie Jean. Listen, do you want to make millions of dollars, or do you want to be Facebook famous? Do you want to be Instagram famous, right? Do you want to have solutions for Black love culture, or do you want to have 100,000 views, right? This is what I'm saying to the poisonous podcasters and to the listeners who listen to them. I'm saying, what is it that you actually want out of your relationships? Do you want to be tantalized? Do you want to be sensationalized? Do you want to be marginalized, where your compliment is attacking your flaws in public space? Or do you want to be, as men or as women, because we both are doing it to each other, ferocious feminists and maniacal manosphere cats are doing the same exact thing, right? And it's deplorable. And it's like, we are willing to sacrifice our legacy and our children for views. That's what we want. We want views. The hell with the children, the hell with the next generation, the hell with our people. We want to go viral, right? That's what we're all looking for. Virality. But I think it's actually hilarious, because we are actually moving as a social virus amongst our people. We want to go viral, all right, but not viral in the sense of social media. We are viral in the sense of spreading a toxic social disease around to our people, around the realm of relationships. And this is one of the most important areas of life. In fact, I'm going to say your health is number one, which includes your physical fitness and your psychological, emotional well-being. Number two is relationships. And then number three is money, career, service to the community, and your legacy. These are the three spheres of life that everybody wants success in, right? Our well-being, i.e. our health, our relationships, from the intimate relationships to our children and siblings and to our extended family and community, and then our career, our money, our ability to impact society in a way, bring value to society that we can be compensated for. Everything else is secondary, because within health includes our spiritual health. So your connection with your creator, right? So these are the most important things. And black people, we should not be out here playing with this shit just so we can go viral, or just so we can have 600,000 artificial friends. You know, most human beings don't have 7 friends. You know, but you go to people's podcasts, some of these people got hundreds of thousands of people watching them, and all they doing is ooh and ah points. Ooh, ah. See, the problem is, this the problem. Or you got the other people that say, if you really want to have a man feel this way, or if you really want a woman to da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then they just saying some mindless stuff. Who's teaching us how to do that? And if you know that, then where's your program? Where's your book? Where's your consultation where you're actually doing that for the people? And do you have the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of people saying, I applied this and it worked? We have that. And I'm not saying that just because. This is actually my lane, and this is what I'm living in my purpose to help in this way. So in the Acoma House Initiative, culturally based counseling and consulting firm, you know, we've been out here since before social media was a thing. You know, the Acoma Day holiday was started in 1997 and formalized in 2001. Most of us didn't even have a social media account. The incorporation of the Acoma House Initiative consulting and counseling firm started in 2008. Yes, social media was out, but many people wasn't on the wave the way they are now. So this is not something we're doing because it's popular. I'm not riding a wave here. This is a career that I chose and went to school for, etc. So, you know, and got much cultural, spiritual teaching for, and so did my wife. We come from different perspectives naturally because men and women are different, but we have the same focus. You know what I mean? And so I'm saying that if you're going to be listening to anybody out here, the thing you're going to hear me saying all year, every time I do a video, the 5 things that a relationship expert must have to be qualified to take up the valuable time of your mental space. Number 1, they gotta be in a relationship. We don't listen to broke people talk about money. We don't listen to fat people talk about fitness. Do not entertain people who are not in relationships talking about relationships, because everything they're talking about is theory, or they have an idea that they can't manifest. Now, of course, the exceptions are people who were married for long times and divorced or widowed or widower. They are exceptions, you know what I mean? Or elders who've been in relationships for many, many years and are not currently. They are exceptions. I'm not talking about them, but I'm talking about the majority of these people. They talk this jazz, and every week they're talking about relationships. Are you actually in a relationship? That should be the first question. And secondarily, your relationship should be more than 7 years long, because we change and grow every 7 years. We have a concept, an African concept called the 7 sevens that you may be familiar with. If you're not, catch the wave on that. But every 7 years you grow and change. And so a lot of people get in a relationship 2 or 3 years, and they jump out here, start writing relationship books, trying to teach about relationships, and you haven't even made it through the first stage of infancy. And the perfect example that I can give to that is Megan Good and her husband. They jumped out there, wrote a relationship book, etc., etc., etc. I seen a post today of her talking about her relationship with 50 Cent. You jumped out there before you actually got to a place of maturity and was trying to teach, and really you was trying to capitalize on your celebrity. And, you know, following celebrities around relationship is a horrible choice, because they're all not the ideal that we should be following for many reasons. Check that video that we talk about the 5-6 reasons why you should never follow celebrities with relationships. But they jumped out there and did that, and then within 2 to 3 years they were divorced. And this happens a lot. Most relationships last 18 months to 3 years. So you shouldn't be listening to nobody who's not in a relationship more than 7 years. Number two, you got to talk to somebody who loves black people, because a lot of people are speaking from their hurt and their pain, but even underneath that, their psychology is not to love black people. They worship white folks, or they just don't have a love for black women if they're a black man, or the opposite, they don't have love for black men if they're a black woman. So don't listen to somebody who doesn't love black people. And it's obvious, you're very smart. You can tell when you're listening to somebody who actually loves us. Number three, if the person doesn't understand thoroughly the global system of racism, white supremacy, don't listen to them, because they could be an agent, whether they're a willing agent or not. They're working in favor of the system. Everything you think you know and understand will only confuse you, as Dr. Neely Fuller says, and Frances Cress Welsing, if you don't understand this system. And why do I harp on this system? As Frances Cress Welsing said, it is the biggest problem in the history of the world, and it is responsible for every other problem in the history of the world. So this is the biggest thing. If you don't have a working understanding of this, and the code has been cracked for over 30 years to understand it. So all you got to do is read the ISIS papers. All you got to do is read the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept, a workbook, textbook for thought, speech, and action for victims of the global system of racism, white supremacy. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing wrote the ISIS papers. Dr. Neely Fuller wrote that other book. So that's all you got to do. And it lays everything out. Why the system exists, how it works, the 4 stages of it, and how to defeat it. So it's not the boogeyman. And you don't got to get out here and bring a hatchet out and kill white folks to dismantle this system. You even got white folks leading the charge, talking about ending racism, white supremacy more than black folks. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So the person got to be in a relationship. They got to love black people. They got to understand this system. And then 4, they got to have a credential outside of social media, because we think that this is the university of the world. We go to YouTube for everything. We go to podcasts for everything. And a lot of these people are unqualified. They're unqualified to lead us. And with lights, camera, action in a sensational talking point, it becomes hard to see who's who, right? So, you know, the person got to have some credential outside of the fact that they brought a podcast mic and they decided to start talking about one of the 3 areas in life that everybody is concerned with. Our overall health and well-being, number 1, our relationships, number 2, and money, number 3. You have to have some other kind of credential. You don't have to have gone to college, but the biggest credential is you got to have a successful relationship. Like let's try that. For starters, right? But then you got to have some other thing that qualifies you to talk about this subject that is so emotionally impactful for all of our people. People who are hurt, people who are angry, people who are confused, people who are scared, and you're stirring up the soup for views, and then you go back to your identity as one of the people in the soup. That's what our brother was doing, Kevin Samuels, and that's what a lot of people are doing. And you know, we moving into a time of justice, and you know, none of us can escape it. So finally, the 5th thing, number 1, be in a relationship. Number 2, love black people. Number 3, understand the global system of racism, white supremacy. Number 4, have some credentials that make you able to deal with our people around these subjects. And then number 5, and most importantly, have a system of solutions. Whether that's a book, whether that's a consulting firm, whether that's a counseling firm, whether that is you're a therapist, have some real tangible solutions that work without you. We often say that supersede the cult of personality. In other words, you know, if I give you one of our communication techniques and you master it, you could teach it to 10 people and you never have to tell them where you got it from. right? So it's not me that's being highlighted. It's effective communication. It's resolving conflicts easily and amicably. It is finding life and love purpose. It is developing a system to consciously court, to find identity, to select, to vet, and then commit to a mate. It is techniques on how to increase intimacy and sexual performance, right? It is techniques on how to harmonize styles, because men and women by nature are very different. And in the absence of rites of passage or training, we come together with the best intentions and we hurt each other because our perspectives on the world are almost night and day, right? So a person has to have systems that allow us to do this without them, because otherwise then we're just deifying a person. And none of us should be looking for that. We should be looking to uplift our people. And that's just the real wrap of the scenario of this situation. So I'm saying to you that, the podcasters that are out here, they're poisonous, bro. They're poisonous. They're hurting us as a group of people. We're not better off because of none of these people that you can name. From Kevin Samuels, who I call the leader of this, all the way down. We're not better off. Our relationships are not better. Men who weren't in relationships are not now in relationships because of that. It's just talking points being highlighted, trauma bonding happening, more mud being slung, and now 6,000 more podcast mics are being bought every week so somebody could jump out here and destroy the group. What happened to our collective consciousness? We bugging out here. So, we are out here as one of the solutions. Real Rap. We have all kinds of things for you at various different price points for singles and couples. Community dynamics like the Black Love School, which is pennies a day for you to be a member of. We have Akoma Soul, our premier relationship empowerment program that is teaching you the Super 7 soulmate skills so that you can find, keep, and grow the relationship of your wildest dreams. We have Akoma King, that is a rites of passage for Black men to develop social responsibility and emotional fitness from a cultural dynamic. We have Akoma Queen. Akoma King is 14 weeks. Akoma King is 10 weeks in its current incarnation. And it's increasing cultural femininity because it's a lot of unattractive masculine women out here delusionally thinking men are intimidated by them. I have never met a man intimidated by any woman because of her education or job. We live by an ethos of physical presence. That I don't see a woman with a PhD and a job walking the streets at night and she's not threatened by the same dudes that other women are threatened by, because the hierarchy in this world is physical presence. It's not intellectual prowess or financial ability. So psycho women, please stop echoing that we're intimidated by you. We're not attracted to this nasty masculine femininity. That's what it is. We're not intimidated or scared of you at all. We're also not scared of commitment. We commit to all kinds of things. You just have to accept we're not attracted to you. Similarly with men, whatever book you read or whatever, nobody wants to be in a relationship with a teacher or a warden or a police officer. If you don't have emotional fitness, then you're unattractive to women. I don't care what you know and how spiritually disciplined you are. Emotion, the realm of relationship is the realm of emotions. And if you're a man like most who grew up demonizing emotions, saying you don't deal with emotions and emotions are soft, etc., you're going to find a hard time being able to have a productive and harmonious relationship with a woman. So, Akoma King is about emotional fitness and social responsibility. Akoma Queen is about feminine, cultural femininity, right? What classic Black culture says about femininity. and lightening of the heart, releasing some of the traumas that make so many women have their guard up and postulate in this kind of pseudo-aggressive way. So we got the Black Love School, we got a Coma Soul, we got a Coma King, and we got a Coma Queen. Our individual packages are ending out this summer, but please, if this is a realm that you're serious about, get with us so you can get some real help. And then, whether you get with us or not, protect your mind. Stop listening to all this poison, because look around you. Tell me one or two things good that it's doing. You know, black men telling me some talking point that Kevin Samuels got. Black women telling me the 5 love languages or some ridiculous stuff. This stuff has not helped us as a group of people, y'all. It hasn't moved the needle at all. So it don't work. It might be something you resonate with, and it all might have a kernel of truth in it. All technology has some truth in it. That's how it lures you in. So I'm not saying it's totally wrong, but I'm saying as a composite, is it effective at producing relationships? And most of the time, it is not. So the podcasters are poisonous. They are people that you need to be very wary of if you're serious about the art and science of Black love culture. We liken ourselves to be one of the solutions, and that's the only reason that I'm coming on talking about this. You know, so if this has value for you, like and share it, and follow us in our mini incarnations on YouTube, which we're just starting to use. We have a couple thousand followers right now. We're just starting to use it. It's called the Black Love School and a Coma Day Every Day. The same. It's a Coma Day Every Day / the Black Love School. Follow us there, and then I'll put the links for you to get in touch with us to do free consultations so we can assess where you are and then prescribe something for you, whether it's a book, a program, or something that can move the needle in the direction that you want it to be. You deserve the right to have love, especially as a Black person in a hostile environment. To have intimate love is one of the greatest buffers of this system. And as Dr. Africa said, the Black family unit is the survival mechanism and the atom bomb to the global system of racism, white supremacy. That's your birthright. That's what you deserve. And so that's what we're offering. If you're interested, please get with us. But whether you get with us or not, please protect your mind, Black people. Don't just fall into and ride the wave of listening to all of these people with a 20-second soundbite of oohs and ahs that are only stirring the pot of confusion, apathy, fear, and distrust. So, as always, it's Montsho, your brother, bringing you the art and science of Black love culture on behalf of a Coma House Initiative Counseling and Consulting. Till I see you next time, as always, greeting you with the eternal words of Black love culture and saying, Nia Coma.